Oh, well, hi, everybody. I hope you're all... Whoa! Oh, shit. Jesus, shitting hell, Christ. What is going on here? Boy, gosh, that certainly is something. Holy wow and gee piss. Cure. Things are changing, things are developing and evolving. We're growing? Well, I don't know if we're actually growing or not, but things are happening. You may notice some slight differences. I'm only just noticing now that the acoustics in this particular part of the room are terrible, so we'll see how well the recording comes out. Basically, I'm in a separate part of my room. Not that there's much room to be in a separate part of. It's not that big a space, but regardless, I am. Thus, then, whatever. I've got a bigger, better quality microphone from a friend. And I've also got something in my mouth, a hair or something. A bigger, better microphone. See if I can... Well, no, I don't want to adjust things. But I'll show you after, so whatever. Point is, it should be better for recording podcasts with people, which has been one of the things holding me back from doing such. I wanted to have guests on and such for quite some time, but one of the main concerns is literally just recording them. First it was just my phone, and that probably wouldn't pick much up. Then I had a little microphone, but I only had the one. I could buy another one, but then I also need adapters, and then I probably need some kind of, sound mixing board and the whole thing. But for now, I've got just a bigger, better microphone, quite a professional looking one, gifted to me by my best friend, buddy Sam. So hopefully that should make for a decent recording for two people. And I have some people lined up. I won't spoil it or anything now, but suffice to say, there are plans in the works. With that said, the audio and such of this particular episode of the podcast might be a bit higgledy-piggledy. Sound might be off slightly, but this is basically just a test run to see how it all works. It might come out alright, it might bloody not. I guess we'll Don't have a cow, man. It's Bart with a squishy head. It's got like a pee hole in it. He's got a blowhole. I'm Bart and I've got a blowhole. So I'm not sat at my desk. I've taken the cutting board from my desk just to give me a better surface. I didn't want to change things too much. I know how we don't like that. Weird OCD people who've suffered so much trauma in our lives that we can't deal with change. I know you're all the same. You're all like me. That's why you watch my podcast. But yeah, I'm under my main room light as opposed to my desk lamp. So we'll see how everything comes out. The guest spot podcasts will be filmed in natural daylight, so we'll see how that goes. Again, it will take a few goes to get it right, I think. But yeah, we should have some good things coming of it. Which is all well and good, but what the bloody hell's all this shit, Ewan? You've made a mess. I hardly see how this could be relevant to anything you were saying. Well, it's not strictly speaking. It's a whole other thing. I had this idea for quite some time, maybe even years, of having a box of like 90s action figures and drawing a picture of them in the box. So the box acts as like a frame for the picture. And I finally got around, now that I'm, an independently working artist, hence the podcast and everything else, updating and elevating. I figured I'd actually give it a go. So I ordered a box of random shit off eBay, when people are not giving away, but selling literally just fucking junk from under their beds or whatever. Just garbage they've got laying around. They try to fob it off on someone else for a bit of cash. And I was only too happy to oblige. I picked this one in particular. There were loads and loads of like sets. One of them was only characters from Bucky O'Hare, which you may or may not remember, which these characters are from. Sadly, no actual Bucky O'Hare in this lot of toys, but this one had Bart and Homer Simpson. It had some Bucky O'Hare characters. It had a Hulk, which, as you all know, just about my favourite guy there is. So I was sort of drawn to this more than I was anything else. I think some of them fell on the floor. Yeah, there's a couple on the floor, but they're not really important ones. There's an Arnold Schwarzenegger figure. But what have we got? We've got a gargoyle. I never really watched Gargoyles, but I hear it was good. I don't know. But there is something about like oops, there goes his tail. It looks like it was supposed to do that. I don't want to go breaking things. I mean, ultimately, as long as I'm not breaking the fucking mic and stuff, it should be okay. Yeah, but yeah, I like the chunkiness of 90s action figures. Like, there are ones like this, which is just sort of like, meh, whatever, some Jurassic Park guy, I guess. You know, it's a toy of a man. Cool. But, yeah, like shit like this, man. The Bucky O'Hare toys were killer. They're like fucking big, chunky, cool shapes. I'll probably do a bunch of drawings of just, I don't know, not necessarily these specifically, but toys in general, just little studies, maybe even parts of them, certain arms and legs and stuff. I really like the shapes. They're just chunky, fucking fun things, and their heads swivel in amusing ways. Look at that! That's so silly, weird. We've got a farmer, Michelangelo, from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They had so many fucking weird ones. They had robot ones and like space ones, and I mean like samurai ones and stuff, which sort of made sense. But a farmer, I just don't know. He's also from Bucky O'Hare. This weird looking Aryan Nazi dream kid with his blonde hair and whatnot. Little Dutch boy maybe, I don't know, in a gorilla suit. As you do. There was a gorilla character on there, wasn't there? I did want to, and still might, get a hold of like a set of Bucky O'Hare toys and a set of Biker Mice from Mars toys, because there were a couple of those, but not in sets, only on their own. There were some like pre-packaged ones, you know, unopened, mint condition, from bloody years ago, whatever, that were like, I don't know, £50-60 each. And that's a lot of money for just a little toy. But you can get, second-hand, knockoff, cheap ones or whatever. So I'll probably do that. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know if it's an actual toy, because it looks like a Chinese knockoff. Because it's got like a He-Man body. I'm pretty sure that's a fucking He-Man body in it. But it's really like flimsy plastic. And it's red. I don't remember He-Man being red. Also, because of the way his legs are, he can't stand up. And he's got like a squishy tiger head, which I also don't know if that was ever a thing in an actual cartoon, or maybe it's one I missed, or it might have been a foreign one, I don't know. Either way, I think it's quite a cool toy to have around, and I might do more with this guy. A couple of like observational paintings of him alone could be quite cool. So I think I'll keep him around. Some ginger fuck, some little shit fuck from Captain Planet. He's got a lever on his back. I don't know what the fuck it does. He's got his little ring and his other little ring, because you know, just some dumb shit. A Ghostbuster from the cartoon, I guess. It's been quite some time since I've seen it. That's like, okay, cool, but then doesn't he look like Hank Hill's dad from King of the Hill, where he's got no leg below the knee? Like he's got his thigh and his knee, and then he had his shins removed, and he's just got his knee and his foot. It looks exactly like that. which is quite funny. I don't know who this guy is, but again, he's a really cool, like chunky fucking 90s action figure. Some weird like pig face man with a mohawk. I don't know what's going on, but like I say, it's pretty fucking neato, isn't it? This is the bad guy from Thundercats. A very weird figure. Like, it doesn't move much. He's mostly one piece. His head kind of turns. Again, just some shit. And again, I recognise this guy, but I'm not sure. He might be from Thundercats as well, actually. Maybe. But again, just a cool, chunky. I didn't know he did that. It's me when I'm spending a night in alone. Get it? Because that's pretty neat. See if we can. Yeah. Ha! Fucking sick. Yeah, just cool, fucking weird toys. I think that's a Marvel character, Chameleon or something from Marvel, Spider-Man villain or something. So yeah, I got all this shit to make drawings with. Like I say, put them in a box as a frame and then draw them in a box and a frame. So I did that. I took the box they came in and sort of like chopped it up and stuck it back together to fit the proportions I wanted. I took a couple of pictures of a couple of arrangements of toys. I'll put those photos up on screen now for you to see. There's one and the other one. Yes, I think I tried to get sort of my favourite ones on top in a couple of them. There's Power Ranger, so I got him involved. Blue Ranger, the dork who had the Triceratops. Yeah, so I was going to take those photos and do some drawings. I thought it would look quite cool as like two separate drawings. One in like, I think maybe one in black ink and one in purple. Or maybe like one in purple, one in colours. But with colours, it's a bit because you don't want to. If there's too many colours in a drawing, especially, it can sort of like look a bit shit. Not shit, but like a bit much. I prefer limited palettes myself, honestly. That's what I like. So yeah, that's a decision to make. Is do I have? Well, I don't know. Like I say, I'll just do a couple. It doesn't really matter. But like, yeah, a couple of cool drawings. And then, as I say, some more individual studies of drawings of toys. Can make a few nice little pieces, art pieces to hang, to make prints of. Actually, a print of like a 90s toy collection in a box print could be quite a cool one. Again, Biker Mice from Mars would be cool, Bucky O'Hare. Like, I could do jumbles, but I could also do a themed one, or themed ones, plural, and stuff. Yeah. Street Sharks would be cool, but then I almost feel like Street Sharks toys are a bit too chunky, especially to have like a box of them. They're very cool toys, but then of course, as I realised earlier today, getting these, I've now got these, and now I have to just have them around. Like I say, some of them I'll definitely keep around, do some more drawings of, paintings. Some of them I might even repaint, just for the fun of it. I guess I could sell them on eBay. I could sell them, give one away free with a print. Each print comes with a free, or like the first 5 or 10 prints sold come with a free toy featured in the print. I don't know. Something. Anyway, all that aside, I did start doing a drawing. I did a rough one, just to like, get a layout and shit. And then I lightboxed that with some more detail. And I thought, it would only go ahead and make sense if I sort of worked on that a little bit. I do have my my device with a photo up on it, so I can actually see what it is I'm doing. But yeah, I mean, this won't remotely be one of the final pieces. This is just sort of to see how it would look, how it might come out. And, you know, there's certain things I'm going to need to figure out in terms of, like, especially if I'm doing it monochromatic, I'm going to need to know, not need to know, but need to differentiate between each character, because otherwise it's just going to look like a load of random shit. So I need to make sure my line weight and such is has attention paid to it, so that I don't lose anything. I don't want the characters to get lost. And like, if there are certain characters like Bart and Homer, I want you to be able to see them in amongst the jumble of characters. And then also, yeah, just use this practice run to figure out, yeah, what are the best ways to draw them, which sort of techniques and lighting works best. And as you can see in the photos, I put the flash on because I thought it would give a nice sort of like, not stark, a very you know what I mean, a very sort of in your face kind of looking, blam, here's a bunch of fucking toys. That works, right? Oh, and my plan is to keep to the photo reference pretty close, as close as I can, because I want them to look like drawings of toys, not just drawings of characters. I want it to be obvious that they are action figures in a box. That's the whole point, isn't it? You know, 90s culture is very in right now, so I think people might appreciate it. I may sort of like chop and change shapes here and there if I feel like a shape of an arm personally works better a certain way, then I might change that. Otherwise, yeah, it'll just make for a couple of neat drawings. And it's, if nothing else, I guess just some fun little drawings to do. It's good to have projects to work on. That's one of the age-old things, isn't it? Of, I can't think of what to draw. If you've got art block or whatever. Art cock. More like art cock. You know, like I say, it's just, you don't have to worry about that because you've got a thing to draw, so fucking draw those toys, you bitch. Fucking whinging and complaining. Fucking draw some toys, you little whiny fucking little bitch face. Go shut up. Go and shut up. I think I might use, this is the red tiger headed guy. Oh, he's on the floor somewhere now, but yeah, so I might quickly sort of figure out how I'd go about making sure he stands out. What is quite good as well in the photos is the shadows you get directly behind some of the toys with the flash. That sort of helps to separate them, the individual toys and such. Which is, you know, helpful, of course. In other news, I know I've spoken, it's currently just about the end of January right now. I did speak in my last podcast, I believe, about working on my Gun Viking comic, which is entirely my plan. That is absolutely my plan for February, is Gun Viking comic. That's get one issue done at least in February. So by the end of February, possibly before the end of February, have it sent off to the printers, printed and sent back and available. I think also, as well as that, because I was thinking I don't want to print too many because I don't want to saturate the market with the latest issue, because I want to focus on getting a full sort of 80 to 100 page book out. So I'll make a few copies for sale just to whet people's appetite, as it were. But then the focus is going to be on the next issue and then getting them into a book. But with printing this latest issue when it's painted and ready to go, what I may do is I was thinking about getting like 70 to 100 copies, because each issue so far I've printed 70 copies and they've been sort of okay. The first one basically is now sold out. I've literally got maybe 5 or 6 copies of that left in my home, and then issue 2 I've got a bunch. So I was thinking this latest one, get 70 to 100 copies printed. But then I thought what could be neat, what I've been thinking of doing anyway, is use some of that number of 70 to 100 of printing this new issue and use the other to reprint issue 1. Maybe adjust the art and stuff slightly, but maybe not. So it may even be the case that like 50 copies of issue 1 and then 50 copies of what will be issue 3. Again, just because I think if I've got the new issue coming out, I think a lot of people, it seems already in fact that people would be interested in getting hold of the first issue as well as this latest third one. And then, like I say, when I get the fourth one out, I think I'll focus on getting the book done as opposed to releasing them as separate issues. If all goes according to plan, I can use February to work on issue 3, and then through March go back to doing commissions and things, make some money to keep me going. And if that goes well, if I make enough money doing those commissions and such, then I can spend April just working on the next issue and get the book out. So in a very relatively short space of time, I can have that done, which I've wanted to have done for years and years. And now I might finally be in a place where I can actually do that, which is very exciting, brothers and sisters. Very exciting. So I've got that to look forward to, which is Mondo Culo. You bastard. I love you and I hope you die. I watched the Midsummer the other day. It was okay as far as films go. It was good. It had some good sort of gruesome, creepy parts to it. But I do always have had a fascination with cults and the like. Obviously, sort of gradually building my own, which is somewhat intentional, somewhat happenstance. But yeah, having grown up in the Mormon church, which is, if you don't know much about it, it's very cult-like in sort of how they are. Not remotely fun or interesting. Like, there's no fucking blood sacrifices and slaughtering of animals or people. No suicide pacts, nothing really fun and enjoyable like that. But just in how they talk to each other, how they talk to other people. They refer to each other as brother and sister. So while I was there, obviously, my surname is McLaughlin, my Scottish surname. So I was referred to as Brother McLaughlin. Which, when you grow up in it, it's just like, well, yeah, that's just how they do. But then when you look at it from an outside point of view, it's like, shit, that's really, really cult-like. When you start talking about, it's not just, somewhere you go every Sunday. It's your family. We're brothers and sisters under our Father God. And then, it gets even deeper. They have elders and priests and patriarchs, and literally they have those things in the church. And you sing hymns, but then again you realise when you're singing certain hymns that even the words to the hymns are I can't think of any off the top of my head, but they get into the point of being basically making you sing the words. I love the cult. I'm glad to be in the cult. I can't wait until I die in the cult. In essence, it becomes that. Not directly, but basically it may as well be that those are the words. And even down to I only realised this very, very like late into my church going career, if you like. If when you're a kid, the songs they make you sing are like basically the same thing. Oh, I love the cult. I'm glad to be in the cult. I'm so glad Mum and Daddy forced me to be in the cult. So you have missionaries, which every person, it used to only be guys, but then they started doing it with girls as well. When you get to 19, you become a missionary, where you get a calling. Again, the priests, the elders up high, literally have a calling for you, where you get called and sent to some random other part of the planet. It might be, another part of the same country. It might be, more often than not, it's a whole other separate country. But yeah, you get shipped out, and then you spend 2 years with one person going around preaching the gospel and trying to induct other people into the cult. And they have songs that they get the kids to sing, which is about like, oh, I hope they call me as a missionary. I can't wait to be a missionary. I can't wait to devote 2 very important years of my life, 19 to 21. I can't wait to devote this time to the cult. I can't wait to give everything up, to put everything on hold for 2 years to join the cult. And then literally the plan is then, and this is, if you don't do this, you disappoint your entire family and everyone sort of looks down on you. They go, he had his reasons, but ultimately they really do look down on you for it. Of you come back and you start looking for a wife or husband, whatever, and that's the plan, and you're supposed to do that as quick as possible. They have young single adult groups where they all get together and hang out, everyone between the ages of 18 and 29 or whatever. Well, yeah, all the young single, it's literally called young single adults. They all get together and hang out and they do church stuff, but the point of those groups and meetings is to basically meet someone to marry, and then you marry and you have kids, and then you take them to the cult meetings, and they grow up. When they're 7, they get baptized, where they get dunked underwater, and they're officially, now you're a part of it. You get them to sing the songs about loving the cult and wanting to be in the cult, and then when they're 19, you ship them away to go on a mission, to be a missionary, to induct other people, which, the bringing, again, this is something you sort of learn later on when you sort of look back from outside. Bringing other people into the cult is sort of, I believe that is secondary. Like, the whole point of being a missionary is to go out and preach the word and bring more people unto God or whatever. But then you realise that is secondary to the actual purpose, which is to keep the missionaries themselves deeper ingrained. Because even if you don't necessarily believe everything you're taught or teaching as a 19-year-old missionary, if you've just spent 2 years of your life doing this, it's like, well, it'd be a waste not to do anything with it, so I guess now I stay here and find a wife because that's just what I've been doing. So yeah, bringing more people into the cult, the church, whatever, is one thing, but really it's all about keeping a tighter hold of the people who are already there. Like, you're one of us now, you're really into this, you're a part of it, you've spent 2 years preaching the good word, and you've had these experiences constantly surrounded by other cult members from over the world telling you what a good thing it is you're doing, and this is the right thing to be doing. And yeah, it's a weird fucking thing. Not that I had planned to just fucking rant about the Mormon cult that exists, and this is literally what I have said is fucking surface level. Like, when you look even deeper and deeper into it, it's I don't want to say it's fucked up, but it gets a bit fucked up, where if you know anything about like Mormons, where they came from, I think one of the obvious things is like multiple wives that they used to have or whatever, and that's like, yeah, I guess that's whatever. They stopped that a long time ago. There's actually a lot of things in the church they stopped doing because people were like, this is probably not like what God would want, and then whoever set the church up was like, yeah, you're probably right, let's we'll stop doing that. I believe at one point, I don't want to just spread lies, but to my knowledge, it was a thing that like black people weren't allowed in the church until at one point they said, oh no, this was the word of God, the literal word of God, but he changed his mind and now it's okay for black people to be part of our church. And it's just like, well, surely if it was the word of God who knows all through all time and space, then it would have just been true right from the start. And then you have people in the church that will say, God's word was true then, it's true now, and it will always be true, all the same. But it's just like, that's not, because it used to not be any black people allowed. And again, even that is like surface level, like cult sort of behaviour that they have in there. It gets really fucking deep, man. The weird rituals they have when you get married, and you get sealed to your partner in the temple, and the temple's fucked up as it is, and the whole thing, man, it's just... So, like I say, it wasn't my intention to go on and on about it, but you're watching films like Midsummer or whatever, I like seeing that sort of thing, because it's like, not to say, oh, I know because I've been a part of one, I understand it more than most people would, but like, I grew up in a very, very cult-like environment where, outsiders were shunned, and you were only supposed to marry a person who was also of the faith. You don't marry an outsider, you marry someone else, and then you have kids and you bring them into it and you keep it going, you perpetuate the traditions, because traditions, which is one reason I'm vehemently against traditions as a whole, even down to like Easter and Christmas is stuff and stuff. It's just like, when you really think about what they are and why they exist, it's not something you should keep going. You should really try to avoid that shit. You can talk about ugliness of like the patriarchy and how the world's run by the people in charge, and I'd argue that Christmas and such aren't too dissimilar from that. Because the way the world's run is just, it's always the way it's being done. It's just, how it is. And of course, a lot of people, rightly so, would say, well, let's change that. And I feel like the fact that Christmas is still as big a deal as it is a part of why things probably won't change. Because people hold on to what they know. They go, well, yeah, but I like this, so I don't want to, why fix a broken thing? No, why fix something that's not broken? Why fix a broken thing? Well, because it's broken, you fucking arsehole. But again, it wasn't my intention to talk about a thing like that. I was just saying, Midsummer was quite a good movie. And I like shit about cults because I feel like I have some weird connection to them in a way. And I avoided, I won't even get too deep into it, but I almost sort of inserted myself back into it a few years ago, out of desperation, fucking depression and loneliness. I very nearly fucking dropped myself deep back into it, where there would have almost been no way out. So Thank God. Thank God. Literally, thank the man in charge. That didn't happen. And off the back of that, it's why I am not even sceptical. Sceptical is not remotely the correct word, because it goes beyond skepticism, but I'm vehemently against religion as a whole. You can, everyone's entitled to believe what they want to believe, do what you want to do, as long as you don't hurt anyone. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, don't hurt anyone. Fuck you. Hurt everybody. Kill them all. I'll join ISIS in a second if they'd have me. But again, it's all based on religions, and I disagree with that. That's the only part of ISIS I disagree with. It's just the fact that it's based around some dumb religion and their own rules of that religion. You know, I'm aware it's like it's not actually the religion; it's their interpretation or whatever. Shut up. It's just the religion part of it that has me not wanting to join up in a second. Ha ha, funny. I don't even know what I was saying, but that's why I'm against, like very, very actively against religion as a whole and spirituality, and because it's all, I'll not say like, oh, they're just trying to control you, man, but it's basically that's what it is. It's just keep the tradition going, keep the control, do it this way because this is the way I do it, which means it must be good. I might have even mentioned this before, I literally had someone say that to me in the church when I had questions and stuff. I wasn't sure if I should be there or not. You know, I was getting into my teens. I was talking to people in the church, I had questions, and more often than not, the answers to the questions are, just pray about it, you'll figure it out, you'll be fine. And then I was like, oh, okay, but I tried that and nothing, so now what? And they go, you probably didn't do it right, just keep praying and, you'll be fine. Cool, thanks for your help. But literally, somebody said to me, by way of an answer to, is this true or not? They said, well, I believe it, and I'm not stupid, so it must be true. Like, can you think of anything fucking dumber than that as an answer to that question? Well, I believe it, so it must be true, because I'm not going to believe something that's not true. That would just be silly. Like, fucking hell. And that's, it's a pretty good example of the sorts of people it attracts. Just, I don't know, people who have nothing else, people who are easily swayed, who are looking for something and it's there, it's convenient. It's just sort of, I don't know, a readily available answer to the question of what does it all mean, when really it says nothing. They say a lot of words, but they do not actually say anything. It's just ugh. And it's also what it does to people, what it does to kids. You see kids growing up in those environments and you feel sorry for them, like how they're treated, how their parents like force things on them and force the way their lives, like they have their entire life planned out, like their kid's life is planned out from the start. Like I say, 7 years old or 8 years old, whatever, you get officially baptized. You're now culpable for your own sins. That's what that is. Once you're baptized, you're washed of all previous sins, and now it's all on you. Anything bad you do, it's on you, and you're in this. Then you get into like 12, 13, you become one of the youth members of the church, and then you take on these responsibilities which give you a sense of purpose, and like, I got to do this, and I'm responsible for this and that, and whatever. And then you go to fucking scripture study classes, you study the Bible and the church's own books and stuff, and just further indoctrination. And then you get to 19 and the plan already for you is that you go away as a missionary and then you come back, you start looking for a wife, and then you start a family. As soon as you've got a wife, you start a family, because that's the whole point of having that. And it's just from day one, your entire life is like planned out. You have such little say in what goes on. You know, if you develop your own interests and stuff, you've got to be careful that they don't disagree with the church. They've got to be in line. They've all got to be wholesome. And, you know, that's no way to fucking raise a person, you know. People complain these days about, like, oh, you can't say what gender a kid is until it can make its own mind up. But you've got people doing far worse. You know, they're deciding their entire life for them based on this religion they believe in. It's just... This has been the religion episode of the Ewan Sucks podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. Well, it's been a fun way to test out the microphone and my setup and everything. Again, the lighting's not great. I think, yeah, a lamp or something. But again, we'll see how it goes in daylight. Maybe I'll record something in daylight just to see how it looks, if it works well or not. And as for this drawing, I think it's coming out all right. So far. Yeah. The whole monotone thing is something I will need to work on. I will need to really differentiate between parts. And this guy's all scaly. So this arm is going to need to be differentiated from this leg and this whole body. If nothing else, I feel like this arm is going to get lost. So yeah, the concept needs some work, but it's not impossible. I'll definitely be able to do something with it. May just have to work on my hatching skills. Oh, there you go. Plans. I think I was going to say before I got into all that shit. I'm going to start doing a series of how to draw videos, like how to draw a foot, how to draw a hand, how to draw a nose. Those are 3 of the most common things that came up. I asked on Instagram, finish the sentence, how to draw a. 3 of the most common ones were hand, feet and nose, and then it was like head, and then obviously penis, vagina, nipples. You know, someone said I was cute. I said, finish the sentence, how to draw a, and they said, you are cute. No, isn't that right? Didn't really answer the question. They say, go fuck yourself, idiot. Can't read. Fucking stupid followers I have. But yeah, I'm going to try to get a series of videos like that done. Maybe, you know, sort of 5 minutes in length. Probably no more than 10. I think that's stretching it. If you're like, I want to learn how to draw a thing, you're not going to sit through a fucking 10-minute video about drawing the thing, are you? Just, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes, a quick this, look out for this shape, put shading here, and you basically got it. So yeah, a few of those. Try and get maybe 1 or 2 a week, depending on what else I'm doing. Obviously I've got other things going on. But that could be quite neat, couldn't it? A nice little series, how to draw. This week, how to draw a penis! This week, how to draw, I don't know, I've got no ideas. I'm just, all that's in my head is fucking cults and shit now. So glad I was raised in a cult.